We begin the program in Israel, where air raid sirens have once again been sounding. This comes just hours after explosions were reported in Tel Aviv. You're seeing live pictures from there where authorities are out in force. Iran says it fired a new wave of missiles at Israel in retaliation for earlier strikes by Israel on multiple targets in Iran, including nuclear sites, an airport, and the capital, Tehran. Several of Iran's top commanders were killed in those attacks. Among them is Major General Mohammad Bagheri, Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces and the second highest commander after Ayatollah Khamenei. Also killed was General Hossein Salami, Commander-in-Chief of Iran's powerful Revolutionary Guards, and General Gholam Ali Rashid, Deputy Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces. One of Iran's most influential politicians, Ali Shamkhani, is also among the casualties. And top nuclear scientists, including Fareydun Abbasi and the former head of Iran's Atomic Energy Organization, and Mohammad Mehdi Tehranji, a physicist and president of the Islamic Azad University in Tehran. A few hours ago, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu addressed the people of Iran directly. He told them Israel is fighting against a, quote, murderous regime, but not what he called the brave people of Iran. Let's have a listen.
Tonight I wish to speak to you, the proud people of Iran. We're in the midst of one of the greatest military operations in history, Operation Rising Lion. The Islamic regime, which has oppressed you for nearly 50 years, threatens to destroy my country, the State of Israel. The objective of Israel's military operation is to remove this threat, both the nuclear threat and the ballistic missile threat to Israel. And as we achieve our objectives, we're also clearing the path for you to achieve your objective, which is freedom. In the past 24 hours, we've taken out top military commanders, senior nuclear scientists, the Islamic regime's most significant enrichment facility, and a large portion of its ballistic missile arsenal. More is on the way. The regime doesn't know what hit them. They don't know what will hit them. The nation of Iran and the nation of Israel have been true friends since the days of Cyrus the Great. And the time has come for you to unite around your flag and your historic legacy by standing up for your freedom from an evil and oppressive regime. It has never been weaker. This is your opportunity to stand up and let your voices be heard. Woman, life, freedom. Zan, Zandegi, Azadi. As I said yesterday and many times before, Israel's fight is not with you. It's not with you, the brave people of Iran, whom we respect and admire. Our fight is with our common enemy, a murderous regime that both oppresses you and impoverishes you. Brave people of Iran, your light will defeat the darkness. I'm with you. The people of Israel are with you.
Joining me now is Behnam Ben Taleblu. He's Senior Director of the Iran Program at the Foundation for Defense of Democracies. Thanks very much for joining us. So Iran has retaliated for Israel's strikes. Is that enough for Iran, or do you expect this could trigger a larger conflict?
Well, it's likely that the regime is still trying to find ways to save face without losing its head. But you saw ballistic missile volleys, at least 2 to 3 separate volleys now going into Israel, targeting population centers that had actually been proof positive that the regime may be looking to actually spill blood this time compared to the previous rounds of ballistic missile attacks. And here we can't forget, of course, that Israeli missile defenses have been successful, as well as U.S. missile defenses in the region again. So likely the regime will look to try to recalculate and perhaps throw something else into the equation as well.
So do we know exactly how badly Iran's nuclear program was damaged in Israel's attacks?
We're still waiting for a full battle damage assessment. You're likely to get that from foreign press that is relying on government sourcing. I don't think you'll be able to get that from the Iranians. Earlier, when there was only one one full round by the Israelis against some of Iran's nuclear facilities, like Natanz, for example. The IAEA had said that there had been no military action towards a site like Isfahan, for example, where there was uranium conversion. But much more recently, and I'm talking about within the past maybe 4 to 6 hours, the Israelis had struck Isfahan as well. So despite Iran's nuclear program being significantly dispersed across the country, the Israelis are proving that they're taking pieces of it offline, or at least handicapping pieces of it offline. But there still remain significant questions about the crown jewel of that program, Fordo, as well as that third new enrichment site that Iran claimed to have inaugurated just a few days ago.
And one question that occurs to me is if attacks like this can actually prevent Iran from building nuclear weapons, or is there an argument to be made that it could drive Tehran to actually build a bomb, prevent future attacks?
There's a logic that can take this in both directions, which is why I think the Israelis see these strikes not as a one-off, but as part of a larger campaign to shape the regime's calculus and decision-making apparatus, or at this point we should say what's left of it, of course. That it has more to lose by going in that direction than more to gain. But as with all things, time will tell.
All right, that was Behnam Ben Taleblu. Thank you very much for your analysis.
Thank you.
All right, I want to go now to Jerusalem to our correspondent, Tanya Kramer. Tanya, just an hour ago, you had to seek shelter because of those incoming airstrikes. That is now not the case, thankfully. Tell us, what is the situation right now?
Yeah, up until an hour ago, people across the country were actually asked to be in bomb shelters that lasted for at least an hour when those missiles came in from Iran, of course, after the attacks by Israel on Iran, throughout the day. Iran retaliated with 2 waves of missile strikes. Now, about an hour ago, the military then said that people could leave the bomb shelters. We saw some very dramatic scenes, during that time, especially over the sky of Tel Aviv. But air raid sirens went off across the country. Now, what we understand is that the military gave some conflicting figures about how many missiles were actually launched at Israel, between less than 100 or up to 150. So we don't have a clear figure about that yet. And they said most were intercepted and didn't reach their target. Now, we don't know yet what the targets were. But there was definitely also, and we could see that, the reports of at least 9 impacts. Those missiles went actually through the defense system, and they impacted on the ground. Now, from the medical sources here, they said that at least 21 people were wounded, 2 of them seriously. Actually, 1 is now listed as critical, according to medics. And the military has also asked the public not to share the sites of these impacts for the security.
And Tanya, what are we hearing from the Israeli government about future attacks? Does Israel expect more missiles to come in?
Well, we don't know at this point. I mean, for now, these home front guidelines were adjusted. They say people can come out of the shelter, but they should stay near shelters and bomb shelters and protected spaces. So basically, it could be that more missile strikes are expected. But what we heard all day from government officials here, from the Prime Minister himself, that this is not a one-day operation in Iran. This could take us quite some time, if not days, but maybe even more than that. So, of course, there's the expectation as well that Iran will continue also to retaliate, but we do not know at the moment when this will happen.
What is your read, Tanya, on what we just heard from the Israeli Prime Minister tonight, speaking directly to the Iranian people, basically telling them to join us and find your own freedom?
Well, I know it's not the first time that Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu addresses the Iranian people. He's done that before, but of course it comes now at a very particular time. And I think what's interesting is that, he mentioned that this is your opportunity to stand up. Now, some might point, also to the fact that Israel didn't just attack nuclear sites today. They also attacked military, high military officials. And from the Quds Force, potentially also the high generals there. And so, there is a sense that, maybe this is a message, from Israel, certainly not yet for regime change, but, some pointed at that. But he also mentioned that, this is one of the greatest military operations in history. So you're seeing a bit, how he views, this, what he has always, this is the Netanyahu doctrine. I mean, for years he has been talking about that, Israel needs to attack the nuclear sites in Iran, and this is now the moment when this is happening.
And is there a sense there in Israel that a window of opportunity is now open for some type of regime change to possibly take place in Iran?
Well, I think it's a bit too early to say. I mean, I wouldn't read too much into it right now. But of course, this is a much larger attack, what we are seeing right now, the strikes in Iran, than simply attacking nuclear sites. So this is something that's certainly being talked about, but I'm not sure at this point. I think it's still too early to say, where this is going, and it's not such an easy thing as well. And we've heard Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu talking about this also in his earlier addresses to the Iranian people.
DW's Tanya Kramer with the latest on a very busy evening there in Jerusalem. Tanya, thank you. Well, it all began in the early hours of Friday when Israel launched its largest action against Iran to date, striking military and nuclear targets across the nation. The attacks killed top military commanders and nuclear scientists. Iran says civilians, including children, are also among the casualties.
The first wave of Israeli airstrikes hit Tehran in the early hours of the morning. The aftermath shown on state television. Claims by Iran that many civilians were killed have not been verified. Hours later, the key Iranian nuclear site Natanz was hit. Israel says it's targeting Iran's military commanders, missile factories and nuclear facilities in order to stifle their abilities to build an atomic bomb.
Israel launched Operation Rising Lion, a targeted military operation to roll back the Iranian threat to Israel's very survival. This operation will continue for as many days as it takes to remove this threat. We struck at the heart of Iran's nuclear weaponization program. We targeted Iran's main enrichment facility in Natanz. We targeted Iran's leading nuclear scientists working on the Iranian bomb.
As well as scientists, leading figures in Iran's armed forces were killed in Friday's strikes, including Hossein Salami, the head of powerful military group, the Islamic Revolutionary Guards. IDF footage shows what Israel says were attacks on surface-to-air missile launchers in western Iran. A military airport in the northwest of the country was also targeted. Tehran was quick to respond.
The Iranian nation and its officials will not remain silent in the face of this criminal act. The Islamic Republic of Iran's legitimate and powerful response will make the enemy regret its stupid act.
The IDF says it was able to intercept more than 100 drones launched by Iran at Israel. Sirens rang out across Jordan, which says it intercepted drones in its airspace and advised citizens to stay indoors. World leaders are calling for an immediate de-escalation from both sides to prevent a spiral into an all-out war.